Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Psycho Gold, this is Psycho Gold Videos. Today we're going to be checking out Mob Psycho 100 episode 7, and considering the last one ended with Reigen about to go on live television and possibly be outed for being a con man, I'm very curious as to what's going to happen next, so let's find out. 3, 2, 1, go. I like the fact that that character has kind of been recurring, like he was interviewed in the last one, so I like the fact he wasn't just a one and done character. So, what do you think? Is he actually possessed, or is this all an act? But before we actually help the kid, a word from our sponsors. Oh, you clever lad. You made him think it's an act when I don't think it is. What? It's on a big screen in the middle of a town? Okay. Yeah, but if he actually is possessed, you're not going to actually achieve it though. Yep. Reigen, you just fell for one of the oldest tricks in the book. Because he knew that he was acting. Come on, Reigen. I wonder what crap he's gonna come out with this time. Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry, Reigen. I think you might be in trouble here. Yeah. Yeah. You're just digging a bigger grave for yourself, man. Well, that's Reigen's career gone. Oh, everybody's watching. I think that's the first time we've seen Blondie in this season, too. Yeah. Well, Mob doesn't follow anything like that, so it doesn't really surprise me that he hasn't been paying attention. Mob thinks it's part of the plan. No, it isn't. Really? I was gonna say, you really want to take on the internet? I very, very rarely doubt it. Psychogram! Oh, that's a much better name. I was gonna say, I know that this is part of the story, but really? A fake psychic is enough for media to camp out at his house? I very much doubt it. Huh! Oh wait, here we go. Now he might figure out a way to turn it around. This would be interesting. Oh, is this going to be a reason for Mob to go back and be like, I can pretend that you have psychic powers? What? He printed the apology, so is he actually going to read it and just be like, end of days, mate? I'm done? It does make me chuckle, the amount of people that are there and interested. In reality, it would be in the gossip magazines, but really? Oh, could Reigen suddenly turn this around? Yeah, I suppose, technically speaking. Yeah, no, he hasn't done any of this stuff. That's kind of interesting, actually, when you think about it. He doesn't really take advantage of people, like we've said before. Oh my lord, he's watching as well. No, he doesn't have his usual zing. Oh my god, they're watching as well. I think he's stuck on that question as well. He doesn't quite know how to answer it, I suppose. But then you met Mob. Yeah, I was going to say, that is pretty much what you do for the majority of your things. You just basically do, like, massages and body improvement stuff and Photoshop work. We've seen this before, we don't need to see it again, guys. Unless I've imagined this, but I'm sure we saw this when Reigen was telling Mob not to kill the other's claws. Scars, even. Don't know why I keep calling them claws. I was right, in the last episode, the reason why Reigen is doing this is because of Mob. He just had forgotten that that's why he's doing this. Well, I suppose this is one way of saving money on the animation, just play a scene that we've seen literally in full before, but alright. Mob catches that. I love how like excited / emoting Mob actually is when he was younger. Now, and you see him in like the first season and in this season, and he's so flat. Wait, Mob is there. I wondered if that's what he was gonna do. I was gonna say, it's not an earthquake. Yes. No, it doesn't. And the music in the background isn't Reigen either. Oh, I wonder what's going on. I love it. Love it. Oh, imagine if that did happen at a press conference. One moment, please. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Ah, and the episode was called Cornered True Identity. Okay. I knew it! I knew he always knew. That's why he always protected you, Reigen. He knew it from the way when he walked in. He's a psychic. But that doesn't mean that you're not a good person that still taught him the right things. Which he actually did, despite everything. There you go. You are somebody. And Mob didn't forget that either. Oh, that was a nice episode. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mob Psycho 100, Season 2, Episode 7. And I kind of needed that episode. I'm not gonna lie, sorry, my foot doesn't want to settle. Yeah, that episode made a change from everything else I've been watching lately. Like, stuff I don't react to is kind of gone on a sad moment. And obviously, Dororo has just been really, really sad lately. And then, Slime was okay, but obviously it had a tragic moment in saying that the kids that we've been introduced to have a very limited lifespan. And obviously last week's Mob was when Reigen and Mob split up and, you know, they decided to basically go their separate ways for a bit. And it was kind of like, well, this is going well for everyone, isn't it? So the fact that in this episode we got to see a lot about Reigen and a lot about his point of view, and Mob kind of wasn't really in this one, which I think is a good thing because it let us see everything from Reigen's point of view. We also got to see some characters that we haven't seen for a while, like watching the TV and giving their opinions on everything. And I think the episode in general was great because it is the sort of thing that happens these days. You know, something happens somewhere on the planet and then it trends worldwide through the power of social media, and everybody starts weighing in, making stuff up, and before you know what's happened, everybody's judging someone for stuff that they themselves have no idea whether or not it's actually happened or whether it's true, or half the time even what they actually have read isn't even what the original story was because it's been embellished so much. And it's like, I mean, it's not like social media started this problem by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that it's definitely made the problem worse because you can reach so many more people and the message can spread so much quicker online, provided people take interest, of course, because it isn't just as simple as you post something online and, you know, it's everywhere. People have to be interested, or you need it to be tweeted out by some kind of minor celebrity. And I'm using air quotes because what we class as a celebrity sometimes, majority of people's reaction when you say, oh yeah, such and such tweeted it, or such and such posted it on Instagram, and who? But yeah, it does make me chuckle. I mean, if a load of models can tweet out an orange block and create one of the biggest PR disasters and one of the worst music festivals ever, then yeah, this is if anything, this isn't disastrous enough for what happened to Reigen. But that goes hand in hand with my previous comment of it has to be something that people actually care about. Would that many people really care if a psychic of all things got proven to be fake? Wouldn't most people just be like, are we shocked? You know? But I don't know. In the context of the episode, I thought it was great. Like I said, it felt like a bit overkill with the amount of press that camped out. I mean, it must have been a slow news day for them. But on the other hand, it's a live TV show. Obviously, it gets a lot of views, so maybe it would get that kind of a response, because if it's not so much that it's about himself and a psychic that's like being proven to be a fake. It's more along the lines of a true psychic, you know, caught out a fake psychic on a big popular television program, so it's Reigen from whatever the name of that TV show was, not so much that it's about the fact that he was proven fake, it's that it happened on that TV show, which actually in retrospect is much more likely and believable. So yeah, maybe I'll take back what I said about I'm not sure how much the media would care because it happened on live TV. Yeah, no, actually it definitely would. I don't like society at times. I really enjoyed the fact that we got to explore Reigen's personality and his motivations and the reason for why he was doing things, and kind of what I said in the last episode, you know, Reigen is pretty much doing this and keeping the business going, and the reason why he enjoys it so much is because of Mob. And I think this episode was great because he kind of finally realized that and was like, actually, yeah, that is why I enjoy doing this, and that is kind of why I still do it. So yeah, I royally messed up, and I think it was kind of that beautiful moment of realization for him. And then, you know, he had that moment of silence, and it was so great seeing his inner thoughts, and, you know, the fact that he almost has this, like, fatherly relationship with Mob, even though Mob does have a dad. So maybe more like one of those big brother type figures, but I think it kind of fluctuates depending, because sometimes Reigen doesn't act like either of those things, which is kind of why they're in this mess in the first place. But I think now that Reigen has kind of remembered that he enjoys just having Mob as his friend as well as his colleague, and the fact that, you know, Mob has flat out said now that he knows, and he's always known, that Reigen isn't a psychic, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, in was it the very first episode or the second episode, Mob gets in front of Reigen, or he shields Reigen, I can't quite remember which way around it is now. I think Mob puts a shield around Reigen when they're fighting their first spirit, because Mob knows that he can't actually defend himself psychically, and Reigen at that point couldn't even see the spirits, so he was completely oblivious when Mob started doing this stuff, and it's like, how could Mob not know, man? I said in the first season when I was doing these reactions that I was convinced that Mob knew that Reigen wasn't a psychic, even though there were episodes where he made it sound like he did believe Reigen was a psychic, but nah, Mob's not that stupid. He just didn't want to hurt Reigen's feelings, I think, because he wanted Reigen to, you know, basically come to terms with that fact on his own and not call him out on it, whereas now obviously the whole planet called him out on it. So, and yeah, that moment at the end when Mob helped him by using his psychic powers, and it was kind of like, ah, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, baby. And then Reigen and Mob reunite, and Mob, you know, tells him that you're a good guy, and Reigen's just kind of breaks emotionally, and he's just smiling and he's happy, and, you know, I think there might have been tears in his eyes, even though it didn't come across that way, but it definitely looked like that could have happened. And it was just a nice ending. It was people coming back together instead of people being horribly ripped apart, which made a nice change of pace. Hashtag bring back Mio. As for the rest of the episode, I thought it was really interesting, and I like the fact that Reigen printed off his mom's apology letter, but didn't actually use it. I don't even know if he actually clicked the button, but it definitely looked like he was going to. I thought he did click it, but maybe he just didn't bother taking it with him. I like the way he interacted with the press at first, and then it was kind of like he wasn't really sure what he wanted from it. But then I think that was the theme of this entire storyline, is Reigen himself didn't really know what he wanted from his life, and now I think he's kind of like satisfied for the moment, at least, with what he's got, and he kind of knows what it is he wants. It's not necessarily to be a big shot millionaire famous guy with a huge business. Those things are nice, but that isn't actually what he wants, and it's taken this shock to the system to actually make him think about it properly and realize, you know, why am I still being a con man psychic? And then it's like, it's because I met Mob, and it's like, ah, ding, light bulb. It's like, yeah, I like that idea, I really do. So I'm really looking forward to see what episode 8 is going to bring and what the rest of the season is going to be about, especially now that we've got you know, Mob, Reigen and Dimple back together, because they've kind of been all arguing-ish throughout this season, but I'm hoping that's going to be the end of it, and now they'll kind of try and balance, you know, it a bit better, because even Reigen said, you know, was I the reason that Mob was having such a sort of, not bad as such, but he was kind of holding him back from doing things that most normal kids his age would do, because I don't think he really noticed that Mob was changing and Mob was getting more confident, and it was like, yeah, you kind of need to let him do his own thing, so you need to kind of schedule it. If you want Mob to be there to do work with you, then that's the day you do the work and you can't call them up unless it's an emergency. Obviously, that's different. If an evil spirit breaks into your office, you can't just sit there and be like, one moment, Mob will be here in the afternoon. But you know what I mean. It's no good just calling him up because he wants to take a job there and then. It'll be like, well, we can do the job, but you'll have to wait until Thursday. You know, make up any reason you want, but that's what's going to happen because we need Mob, basically. Either way, that's going to be it for this episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait for next week's episode, but that's going to be it, so... Today we're going to be checking out Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, Episode 8. I've heard that this episode is a bit intense, so I'm not really sure what I'm expecting from this episode. Yes, this episode is later than I'd planned to be done. I think at this point, I don't need to keep saying that stuff hasn't been going great. However, I've just kind of decided I'm gonna just do what I want in terms of watching anime. So, if you were on my Patreon page, then you know that I posted up some more Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter, because whichever way I say it, someone tells me I'm saying it wrong. No one seems to agree on whether or not the X is silent, so I'm gonna probably end up saying it both ways and just know that's what I'm talking about. But I don't really care which way is correct. I'm gonna be watching Mob, I'm gonna be watching Slime, and I have a couple of series that are gonna be coming to YouTube that haven't been on YouTube yet. Fingers crossed in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited to get more videos on YouTube because it has kind of been dead on YouTube as far as I'm concerned. But I have plans, so fingers crossed over the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks, the video output on YouTube is going to be increasing dramatically. It all comes down to whether or not I'm going to have the time to edit. We have a flat inspection on Monday, and obviously I stream on Monday, so I know Monday is going to be a horrific day for me in terms of getting anything done. But I think I should still be able to watch Dororo. That's what I'm hoping anyway. But with all that said, let's dive into this episode of Mob Psycho, shall we? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh! Is that Mob and his brother? Yeah, it is, isn't it? I like the fact that his mom's panicking and his dad's just like chill as anything. Like, whatever. Even then, continue forward. What? Wait, what? Oh, they've got... Okay. Is that because of what I said? Yes, I knew he was going to donate to that organization. I had a funny feeling that was what was going to happen. Don't even try faking any sickness. I will see right through it, boy. I love that. For real this time. Yeah. It would be nice if he got asked out for real just once. Damn. He was like half excited then for a minute. Ah, wow. There's no way that they could zoom in that much. I really hate that in like CSI shows where it's like the only Blade Runner's enhanced thing has a lot to answer for because they make it seem like that's actually possible. You can't enhance pixels. It can only go as far as the image was taken. You can't run a filter over it and it suddenly looks clean. Wow. Yeah, I agree. Dimple, I'm right there with you, bro. It'll have to be this year. I don't think you're good enough to do that though, dude. Like, I'm not good enough to do that. That's definitely not something that I think you could just do, placing top 10 in the marathon. I like the fact that this character has kind of become a good guy in all of this, you know, compared to how he was in the last season. Ah. So he bought the wrong ones. That's more like his character. I love how everybody is so shocked by that. Myself included, I'm not gonna lie. Wait, is he gonna help train him? Yes, he is! Ah, Reigen! You finally got your proper personality back of helping Mob. Dimple is the ultimate trainer. You wouldn't tell us. Yes, he's just stopped as well. That's interesting. So he doesn't have the same kind of memories that. I want to call him Shiggy now because I keep seeing that in the subtitles. I like the power music that it's got going on. It's like clearly somebody has is trying to channel Rocky here. Wanted to say Rambo, and I'm like, no, it's not Rambo. It's the other one, beginning with R. Oh, finally Blondie's back. Oh, wait. Are they actually going to go out and get... Wait, isn't that... Yeah, it is... I couldn't think of a name. I wanted to call her Sabomi or something, but... Why would... okay, this is interesting. I wonder where this is going. Editor's note. I had absolutely no idea where this was going, and I don't think it was humanly possible to. Carry on. Oh, okay, so she's just there to support her friend, I think. It's weird that she looked over at the wall and then asked for this advice. This could end very badly then. Oh, okay, so she is thinking about that picture. That's interesting. Oh, Reigen looks like he's in worse shape than Mob. Which, if that does make sense, he has been going to the Body Improvement Club for the whole of the first season, near enough, and this season. So I don't know, man. Yes, they blend right in with their cardboard grass. I was gonna say, we all know that they're gonna do fine. I suppose the good thing about it being a marathon is, yes, he wants to place in the top 10, but in my opinion, even if he does well in general, it's gonna be better than he's ever done in his life. Oh my god, they all look so intense. Come on, Shigio, you can do it. That's the bit I don't like about marathons or races, or that I remember, is like, you have all those people in close yeah, that happens. That pisses me off. Not that I ever fell over like they did, but it's like, I really... Oh, his knee! I really don't like how compact everybody is. Like, you'll spread out once it starts. But, yeah, I never liked that. Yeah, well, I'm glad his parents noticed the change anyway. Like, that's the most engaged with them that they've looked in a very long time. Why did she stop herself? That was weird. But he is overtaking people. Like, even with that leg. Something's not working here. What? Well, there's no way he's gonna do that. The thought crossed my mind. Like, I mean, I agree with Dimple. I think he's got an injury. But, you know, like, something is... Huh? Did he pass out? What? I'm lost. Okay, so I'm guessing he must have passed out? I was gonna say, he fell down about 4.5 kilometers in. I wonder if he would have been able to, well, maybe not necessarily catch up to the top 10, but I wonder if he would have been able to do it, you know, like if he hadn't fallen over at the beginning and injured his knee. Like, if he'd been training that whole time... What? What? No! Definitely not a friend! What the fuck just happened? Wait. Wait. No, but... What?! He can walk through the flames, that's fine. Someone please stop him. Instead of screaming for somebody else to stop him, you daft bitch, go and stop him yourself. The only thing I'm hoping for is that Maid, whatever his name is, the ginger, took them before setting the house on fire for whatever reason. But I'm really nervous what he's gonna find in here now. Yeah, I don't blame the percentage for going up. Damn, even Dimple is actually, like, into it and panicking. Uh-oh. No, no, no. What?! Oh, Everybody else, get the fuck out the way, like, right now. I'm here. That's where it ends. Yeah. Okay. So, I thought Promised Neverland and fucking Dororo were the shows that were supposed to depress me. You... I just found more stuff I've knocked over. 2 seconds. Okay, so... what is it with shows just ending me lately, man? I mean... I really want to dispute, what I just saw, but... What? Did we really just see what I think we just saw? Or is it a trick? Is it some kind of deception? Because I have no clue where this show is going to go if that turns out to be true. I mean, even if it is a deception and they are alive, the show is going to be completely different from now on anyway, because their house is just burned down. And the claws are clearly back. The next episode on Monday, man... You know what, this might be the first week where I'm actually going to prioritize watching Mob over Dororo, because I need to know, like, what's going to happen next. That's just... Wow. It's all like... Mob has been doing so well to get better at life, is the easiest way of putting it. But, like, he's developed so much as a character this season. He's become positive. I mean... He's just gone through so much crap, and now, you know, he had a goal and a dream that he wanted to achieve in this episode. Well, he wanted to achieve in general, but it turned out that he needed to do it in this episode. And even though he failed to do it, he didn't get pushed down. He didn't get knocked back. He was still himself. He didn't let it cripple him like he might have done in the first season, for example. And he left with a smile, even though he didn't do that well. And his brother did. I was seriously thinking that the thing that made this episode intense was something must have happened with him and whatever her name is. And, you know, that maybe she's going to reject him or something, but, I mean, what? What? That just went... That went so out of left field. I mean, that is the definition of that escalated quickly. Like, when he was walking through the flames and Dimple himself was also right there. I mean, Dimple was... I know Dimple is a bad guy, at least he thinks he is in his heart, but he was right there with Mob. He was reacting, he was emotional, and he was trying to help as best as he could. And in my opinion, if that doesn't prove that Dimple does have real feelings for Mob, nothing will. I mean, he was trying to help him win the race as well. I mean, Reigen's doing good again. Blondie has shown back up at last, which now I'm beginning to see why, because I think we're about to go all out. But Jesus H, when he when his emotions were going up through the roof, and he's still trying to remain positive, saying, you know, the house is burnt down, which sucks, but as long as everybody's still alive and, you know, we're together, we can start over. And it's like, yep, I agree, but the emotion count is still going up. The percentages has gone up to 90. Then he realized as, you know, Dimples registered the door, and it's like, okay, so now it's gone up to 96%. And then he's like, right, we need to quickly try and figure out what the hell has happened before the evidence gets burned away. And as soon as he put his hand on the door handle, I had a horrible feeling that I knew what was going to happen next. I mean, I was just sat there like, no, please no. And the second the music went up and everything went high-pitched and everything slowed down, and it was like, I really don't want to watch this. I really don't want to see this. And I really didn't think we were going to. I thought we were just going to get a shot of his face, you know, stunned, and then we did, but we saw Dimple freaking out, we saw Mob freaking out, and then we actually saw their charred, burning corpses, and it's like, I'm 99% confident there were 3 corpses there, man, which means if it is them, and it's not some kind of elaborate deception, we've lost Ritsu, and we've lost his parents, and I don't know what to say to that. I mean, if it's true, and this is the direction that the series is going, hats off to the writer, dude. I'd have never seen that coming if my life depended on it, but, I mean, the percentage counter going above 100%, it just kept on going, the percentage started glitching, you know, Mob, if you're so much as in the vicinity of Mob right now, if you're in the same postcode, run. Whether you're innocent or guilty, run. Because real people don't make the best of decisions when they're put through emotional situations. His powers are tied to his emotions. His powers tend to try and protect him / defend him. Whatever that entity is that's question mark, I do think that it is protecting Mob. And I think that the beginning of the episode showing that his powers activated to try and, like, help him when he injured his knee and he was going to cry, it was kind of like his powers were almost like doing what his parents were kind of, I don't want to say failing to do, but you know what I mean, like they were taking his mind off of it, it was entertaining him, making everything around sort of spin, and it's like, ooh, something shiny. And I think that's kind of what happens when needed, is this question mark thing comes out of Mob, and it's not Mob, which I've said pretty much from the first time it happened, that ain't Mob. I don't know what the hell it is, but it protects Mob, whether for its own interests that have got nothing to do with protecting Mob, or whether it does protect Mob for protection reasons. Maybe it is a aspect of Mob, because, man, if you want to get into how psychology works between, like, your emotions, the logical side of your brain, and it's like the ego and the id, I mean, Mob looks like he really, really struggles with his emotions, as I've said in previous episodes. So the question mark form could actually be like a manifestation of one of those psychological problems that real people do go through, but obviously we don't have psychic powers, so it doesn't happen quite so literally, but it could literally be the two sides to a person, and one side is in control of his body, and the other side is been repressed for so long that the only way it can actually come out and get what it wants is it's kind of like hijacking through the mental powers. It's a normal thing that happens in our brains, but obviously he has powers, and that kind of messes up how normal everyday functions work. That's one theory. The other theory is, as I've said, is this thing is just something completely different, has nothing to do with Mob whatsoever. Either way, it looked like it was going to come out to play, and I don't think Mob is particularly going to be fussed who gets in his way. He wants to know who hurt / potentially killed his family, and I think anything with a heartbeat that is stupid enough to even get in his sight range is going to be dead by the end of the next episode. I'm really annoyed at myself now for not watching this episode when it came out. And I'm actually quite surprised that I didn't get this spoiled. I'm impressed at DeeBeeGeek as well, if you're watching this, dude, that you didn't tell me that I need to watch Mob Psycho 100. Because I'd have been on edge and on guard for the whole episode if you told me that. But, wow. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the episode, because it just feels superfluous. Like, yeah, he did really good at his running, and it was really entertaining, and it was really lighthearted and fun, and then all of the fun was just knocked out of us in one big blow. Purged in fire. Yeah, so I don't know where this is going, but all my days, like, I need to walk away for a bit, chill. I think I'm gonna go sit with Jade for half hour, and then I'll come back and attempt to edit this. But damn, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I got nothing else to say.
6.5 hours later.
Yeah, so 6.5 hours later, I've actually adding to this. So if you've seen this already on Patreon, then this is new, because something hit me when I was editing, and I was no longer in the bad mood or the depressed mood that I was in when I watched this originally. Because when I re-edited this for YouTube, I noticed something. Mob passed out. And all the bad stuff happened after he passed out. I am now going with a different theory. Now, I'm not saying that this is true, but it is a theory that I have thought of, and it's a theory I can't quite get out of my head since I've thought of it, which is why I'm adding a second piece to this review. I actually think that everything that we just saw, and possibly everything that we might be about to see, isn't actually happening. I think it's happening inside of Mob's head. Now, this could be the entity known as question mark, or it could be something entirely different. It could be Mob's trying to deal with everything that's going on. But there's a few things that just don't add up for me. Number one, Mob passed out, and in my opinion, it seemed to be a rather serious situation. You don't just pass out, and he's been passed out for several hours, and I can't see him just basically being left alone with the doctor when he had Dimple, he had Reigen, his parents were there. Like, why would his parents go home? Maybe it's just me. I mean, I don't know. I know my parents wouldn't just go home if I was passed out unconscious with a, you know, massive amounts of blood gushing out from my knee. And I can't see Reigen just leaving Mob either. We don't really know what's happened. Now, if this is where the story's going, this is where the story is going, and please see my already existing review. But there's something very familiar about this in other storytelling that is too similar now that I'm looking at this without, like I said, that wave of negativity that hit me in this, because Jesus, did that take me out of nowhere. There's an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and there's several other shows that have done the same thing, where you basically see worst case scenario, i.e. in the next episode, because it shows it in the preview cards, so if you don't want to know, skip this bit, end the video. It shows that the Scars are going to attack, and it's all the people from the last season. Now, I was under the impression that some of those guys weren't actually bad guys anymore. I thought the only one who was still a quote-unquote Scar was actually the redhead, and he basically said everybody else was useless. But Mob wouldn't necessarily make that connection, and his mind wouldn't either. I'm wondering if whatever the question mark entity is, I'm not going to keep calling him 3 question marks, the triple question, but I'm wondering if he's manufacturing this in Mob's mind to make Mob get those emotions really pumping so that the entity can come out. Now, I say it, I think, in my review, because some time has passed, but I was theorizing that the question mark is part of Mob. It is a separate entity in terms of it has its own thoughts and objectives, desires, and feelings, but it could be a part of Mob, like with the id and the ego, and if it is, that would actually go nicely with this theory, because it is manufacturing ways for it to come out and escape. He has been handling everything else in this episode really well. Like, really, really well for Mob. So much so that I almost want to call it out of character. Now, I put it down to character growth or character development, but what if there's more to it than that? What if this is a precursor to a big psychic battle going on inside of Mob's head between him and Question Mark? Now, I'm not talking about a physical battle where we're actually going to see the two of them go at it, though that may happen at some point, because in my opinion, we still haven't actually seen what was going on in the very first episode of Mob Psycho 100, which I pretty much came to the conclusion of a while ago. We were seeing Mob go up against the Question Mark entity, and I actually think that this is where the story is going. This entire story is getting us back to that first opening shot in Mob Psycho 100 episode 1. And obviously some people who read the manga are either looking at me like I'm absolutely mad right now, or they're looking at me going, God damn, it's theory time and you're right once again. I don't know, and I don't want to know. I'm quite happy just not knowing, whichever way it is. But I can't help but... When I rewatched this, knowing what was coming, my brain was engaged, and this time it was picking up things that I missed. Like, I think there's something more going on with Mob's love interest. Some of the things that were happening with Mob don't add up. Everything that happened after he passed out is the worst case scenario. And like I said, I have seen other shows do this beautifully, where everything goes wrong and it just leaves you speechless because you just don't think that this is possible. Like I said, the best example of that is Batman the Animated Series, where it starts with the death of Batgirl and everything just gets worse from there. And yes, the episode is as crazy as it sounds. Now the catch is the reason why that all happened is because none of it was real, and it was actually Batgirl who was seeing all of this happen because she was infected with scarecrow gas, and it was killing her, you know, in the real world, and they were trying to counteract it with drugs, etc., but they were having no effect. And just as she was about to lose it mentally and she was going to break, when you see Batman and Commissioner Gordon fighting each other, they get pushed off of a skyscraper, and as they're about to fall to their death, she finally, you know, the antitoxins finally kick in, and she wakes up just before they hit the ground, and that's how the episode kind of ends. And I can't help but feel like this might be the way out of this for the story, because I've talked to loads of people. People on my Patreon page have been saying, you know, this episode, they don't know where it's going either, apart from one person who's read the manga, and he was very nice and didn't say anything to point in any direction. He just said that it was beautifully animated. But you know, that is an out. I kind of don't know if I want them to take it or not, because on the one hand, this would be so weird if this is where the story goes. But on the other hand, I'm not sure I want the story to go here. But I don't know. I'm so conflicted, but I would like to officially throw that theory into the ring. I can't help but wonder if everything we're seeing isn't actually real, and that this is all inside Mob's head for whatever reason, by whatever means, and that the Get Out ploy at the end of this storyline, because I don't think this is going to be over next episode, it might be, but I think it's going to be for a couple of episodes at least. I think it's going to all turn out that it's in Mob's head, and if the next episode has some other character deaths, like, say, Blondie, Reigen, etc., or even Dimple, that's just going to reaffirm my belief that this isn't actually happening, and it's happening inside of Mob's head for whatever reason. I do think that there is a battle of control for the two personalities that sit inside of Mob, that obviously vying for control of his powers. Because even though Question Mark is a different entity, I do think that Question Mark is still using the powers that are inside of Mob. I think it's one power set, but they both have different controls over different aspects of his powers, which again goes back to the idea that is Question Mark a different entity 100%, or is he only a different entity in as much as he is a part of Mob's psychological makeup, but he's been disconnected from the main I want to call it the mainframe, because it's easier for me to think of brains like computers, which they are, but they're so much more complicated. Anyone who says a brain is like a computer has never looked at a brain. But, yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say, I hope. I hope I'm making myself clear, but I'm going to end this now, otherwise this is going to be almost as long as the actual review bit itself. So yeah, that was my addendum to this review. Sorry that this episode took so long to get out, but I hope you could see, man, that this episode wrecked me. I was in... Oh, man. I literally didn't do anything for the rest of the evening. I just sat in the other room and me and Jade watched Ratatouille, which definitely cheered me up. Anyway, past me, take it away. If you enjoyed my reaction, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Please leave some comments down below. I know it's late, so it's not going to get that many views, but if you are a Mob Psycho fan, I know you'll watch it anyway, so I look forward to hearing from you guys. If you're new around here, feel free to click that subscribe button. It is my intention to start having these things back out on time. I'm getting real tired of saying that. Yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. This is Psycho Code signing out, and damn. See you in the next one.